Alright guys, and welcome to today's video. So this video may be a little controversial to many first-person shooter fans, and straight away I'm just going to apologise, because I know this is a controversial opinion, and I know a lot of people will probably disagree with me, and I can definitely see why. Part of me disagree with you, but this is basically the argument between fans. Which game is going to be better, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare and Battlefield 1? Now, in regards to which game do I think is going to be a better game, I would have to say, from what I've seen so far, Battlefield 1 definitely looks like a better game, definitely a more well-made game, and the gameplay definitely looks great, as any Battlefield game is. But that's necessarily not what I'm talking about today. You could say an Oscar movie, a movie that won Best Picture at the Oscars, that might be a better movie than, say, Captain America Civil War, something like that. Doesn't mean you don't enjoy that one more. And you might end up watching Captain America like 10 times in a row. Well, not in a row, but 10 times like over and over again. You end up watching that Oscar movie like once and thinking that was great, but I'm done for now. And that's basically where my opinion lies on which do I think I'm going to be playing more and which do I think I'm going to enjoy more. And I'm pretty certain that Infinite Warfare for me is going to be something that I'm going to enjoy a lot more than Battlefield 1. I'll run you through some of the reasons why I believe that. And obviously you guys may disagree. Obviously it's a lot of personal opinion and a lot of personal preference going into this. So I don't expect you guys to agree with me completely, but at least you can see where I'm coming from, and this may help some first-person shooter fans who are really into Battlefield and really just against the new Call of Duties at the moment. It may help you see where I'm coming from and where some of these people are coming from. So for me personally, what draws me to Call of Duty is fast-paced action, and Call of Duty essentially is just a reflex shooter. The faster reflexes are, the better your decision making is at a fast rate. Under pressure, the better you are going to be at the game. And you do get instances in Battlefield, but I feel like a lot of the gunfights last for a lot longer. You're usually shooting from a lot longer range, and it's definitely a lot more tactical. Now, there is tactics in Call of Duty. There is definitely a meta to the game, which you have to play a lot to understand and watch people play, especially in the competitive part of it, with search and destroy and stuff like that. There's definitely a huge meta. Although on the surface, a lot of the time it looks like it just basically loads of stuff's happening for no reason, and that is partly the case. But it's definitely not just a mindless shooter. Definitely Battlefield's a lot more tactical, but as I said, there are tactics to Call of Duty, and it's not just a complete mindless shooter. I do see where people are coming from in that sense. The one thing for me that sort of put me off playing Battlefield games sort of consistently for over a long period of time is just a lot of the game modes and a lot of the maps and stuff are just so big, and the games last for so long, and I mean, you're getting into like 10-15 gunfights throughout the whole game. And some games can last like up to and like over 20 minutes. And you've come into about 15 gunfights total. That's definitely not something that's just me. I see it all the time. Most of the games, there's people maybe going like 10 for 5, or like 15 for 10 or something like that. So you're ranging from about like 15 to 25 gunfights. Obviously it doesn't cover the whole game, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. The gunfights are a lot less prevalent in Battlefield due to the actual largeness of the map, and usually the game types that are played on it. Now, in the older Call of Duties like Call of Duty 4 and Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, and basically most of the Modern Warfare, maybe in and definitely in Call of Duty 2 and 3 and all the older ones, and it's definitely World at War as well. The maps on that are definitely a lot bigger than what we used to with the newer Call of Duties. Generally speaking, a lot of the newer Call of Duty maps are a lot smaller. Which, the way I play and my style of play is mainly a run and gun type player. I can't help it, that's just the way I am. I've definitely got a lot better at sort of restraining myself from just running out into the middle of the map for no reason. Like, I'll go and try and do a flank maneuver, take my time, sort of come out at the appropriate time to gun someone down. But I mean, for me, maybe this is because my brain is just retarded. But for me, I love the chaos of Call of Duty, and it's definitely a huge contrast in the sort of emotions you feel when even during one match, like 10-minute match, because it's so up and down. You can go on a kill streak, get like a Talon, a Wraith, everything's going well. All of a sudden, this guy in the lobby just turns up and just absolutely demolishes you. And you're sat there raging, fucking just smashing your controller on the floor. No, I don't do that anymore. I used to. Luckily, I've sorted that out. But for me, it's just how quickly the game can change and how quickly you can recover and how quickly you can fail and fall. Whereas in Battlefield, essentially throughout the games, it's a lot of your actions don't really mean too much in the end. Like, there can be like one particular standoff for a point. There can be one particular standoff for an objective that is really important, and certain things like that. But if you die like a couple of times, here and there, it's not really going to affect the outcome too much. Obviously in Call of Duty, just because the game length is smaller most of the time, they last a lot quicker. Like most matches I play in last about 5 minutes. Maybe if you're playing domination, maybe it lasts 10 minutes or so. As I said, in all the Battlefield games I played, most of the games last like 20-30 minutes. Obviously, there's going to be game modes without the objective, like maybe there's just like a team deathmatch sort of type of thing, or maybe like a domination with only like 3 objectives or something like that. That's going to make the map a bit smaller. So yeah, I understand that. But in general, that is the difference between Battlefield and Call of Duty, which makes me prefer Call of Duty over Battlefield. I don't even think EA and DICE make a better product with Battlefield, but I don't know, it just doesn't have that magic about it. It doesn't have that fast-paced action that, for some reason, I just really enjoy, and that's what gets me off about. That's what really fucking gets me off about Call of Duty. That's what I keep coming back for. Is that rush of just going on a massive kill streak and winning the game for your team, or vice versa, just absolutely getting turned on like near the end of the game and ruining it for your team. And I've realised I haven't really gone into Infinite Warfare, Battlefield 1 in particular. What I've said, I mean, in general, it applies to both franchises and how they've been in the past and how they are now. Obviously, Call of Duty's changed a lot over the recent years with the movement system. Personally, I actually don't mind the movement system. I think it's quite fun. It helps you get around the map quicker, which for me, obviously, is a plus. I really don't like fighting people in the air. That's one thing that I don't like, but that's the negative of it. But the plus side of it is it's fun to wall run around and get around the map quicker. Because then you can get in gunfights a lot quicker, which is the fun part, in my opinion, of Call of Duty and a first-person shooter game, is having a gunfight. Now, I'll play devil's advocate for a second. Here's where Call of Duty could completely turn me off, and I could switch over to Battlefield completely. I don't see it happening, but here's how they could do it. So in Infinite Warfare, there's going to be transactions, which will probably be supply drops or something in that vein. And basically you can get different versions of weapons already in the game. For example, you can get an SMG with like increased fire rate. Essentially, you can be playing against someone. You're both using the same gun, but one person's gun is better than the other person's. Which for me, I'm not a big fan of that. Especially because I don't spend money on games usually, on in-app purchases. I really don't like it. And obviously, you'll be able to earn sort of points or you'll be able to earn points or some sort of keys or something to open these cases within the game. But I mean, if you want to actually be above the curve, you're going to have to spend money to get these weapons, which is something that I'm really against. I really don't like it, and hopefully Battlefield doesn't have anything like that in it. But that's definitely something that could put me off the game completely, and I'll see, because what I've seen so far, it looks like it's going to be a really fun game. The movement looks fine to me. If anything, it looks a bit less wall running and a bit less like jumping about. If anything, it looks a lot less sort of in-air battles than Black Ops 3 and definitely Advanced Warfare, obviously. And yeah, for me, it reminded me of a mixture of the Modern Warfare games and Black Ops 3. We'll see if that's the case. It might not. It might be terrible. But then again, there's Modern Warfare Remastered, which is probably what I'll end up playing if Infinite Warfare sucks anyway. Because it will give me that old fucking Call of Duty feel. Right in the tingly bits. Or I'll just play Black Ops 3 still. Who the fuck knows? Or I may even just play Minecraft every day for the rest of my life and commit suicide. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Sorry if I didn't go into detail about certain things, about the particular games, but I feel like I made my point quite clear over the front. I mean, that's all I can say for the franchises at the moment. Obviously, the games aren't out yet, so I can't actually say on what's actually there and what's not there. But yeah, that's just my opinion of how I think it's going to go down. And obviously, I think a lot of people are going to love obviously, I think a lot of people are going to love Battlefield 1. And I think I'm going to really enjoy it too. And I think a lot of people are going to dislike Infinite Warfare. And I mean, there's a case to be made that I might dislike it too. But the way I see it at the moment is I'm going to enjoy both of them. But Infinite Warfare is definitely going to be something that I'm going to keep coming back to. And Battlefield 1, I feel like I'm going to play that a couple of times and get bored of it. Because, as I said, my attention span... Maybe it's just these days, people's attention spans are just lower and lower. Because I just really cannot be bothered to sit down and play like a half-an-hour match. Especially because I may join the game, have to go and fucking clean up my cat's piss. Next thing I know, we're fucking losing 10-0 to Barcelona. Fucking Lionel Messi's done a fucking backflip 360 no-scope off the fucking Jeep. There aren't any Jeeps in World War One, but fuck it, you know. Who knows? To be fair, there's not Lionel Messi in Battlefield 1 either, so let's put it as that. Anyway, thanks guys for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll try and cut this video down a bit because I've just been rambling on for ages. So I'm going to have to do a lot of editing of this. So hopefully I get that done soon. And yeah, thanks for watching and goodbye.